Hi there, I'm Alessandra Latour, a leadership expert with over 15 years of experience leading teams and developing leadership programs for over 400 leaders. I've had the privilege of designing learning programs for companies ranging from 15 to 5,000 team members, and I've earned a Doctor of Education degree to make sure that all of the programs I develop maximize learning and action. Through the Latour Leadership Academy, I empower emerging and existing leaders to embrace their authentic leadership style, create team synergy, and foster a positive work culture through curated and personalized learning experiences. In this podcast, we'll talk about how leadership can be found in everyday activities and provide practical tips for those who are new to managing or leading a new team. If you're a leader or hoping to be one, by title or not, I'd love to connect, get to know you better, and find out how I can help. You can grab a free resource on my website, latourleadershipacademy.com, and sign up for my weekly email newsletter where we talk about leadership skills, network, and share action-based ways to enhance team collaboration and positive productivity.
Today's mini-sode is about balancing your workload and preventing burnout, with a few tips for your team also, and battling that never-ending procrastination bug. Let's get started.
The last set of questions here deals with balancing workload, preventing burnout, and my favorite, overcoming procrastination. Any tips for balancing multiple projects with tight deadlines? Yeah, I really like project management tools again. Again, they might take a little getting used to, and if you have less tech-savvy people, you might have to give them a little more support, but that clarity around projects, responsibilities, deadlines is key. And then delegate tasks to your team to spread the workload if you're feeling burned out, right? Delegating for scale is when you have too much on your plate and you need to move some things off. You can do this for yourself, and you can also do it for your team members. So if you see them sinking under a heavy workload, you can have that conversation with them of what can I take off your plate so you don't seem to feel like you're going towards burnout. You want to make sure that your team members understand that you're not taking work away as a penalty, but as a preventive measure for them. And it should be a two-way discussion, right? They should be able to help you identify what you could take away. You should be able to help them identify what to take away. And then that conversation around, this really isn't against you. This is to help you. And then you'll want to help prioritize projects based on deadlines and importance. So during your one-on-one meetings with team members, help them prioritize their work. What you see as important and what they see as important might not always align. So you want to make sure that you check in there. And also you could ask what you can help take off their plate so they can focus on more important priorities. So if you know that a project deadline's coming up and it becomes priority, you can help them take some things off their plate or, let them know this one is not as important. Please put this aside until the other one's complete. That communication is really key. How can I avoid burnout with such a busy schedule? Most importantly, schedule regular breaks and time off. Be an example for your team. Take your paid time off. And while you're on PTO, make sure you're truly unplugged. If you're checking email, responding to messages, your team is going to feel like they need to do that same thing when they're on PTO. So show them what it's really like to be off. Another way to avoid burnout as a leader is not to hesitate to ask for help, right? So as a leader, you're setting that tone for your team. If you're not good at a task, as good at a task as someone else as your team is, delegate that for weakness. That's when you're relying on someone else's strengths to successfully complete a task because you're just not that great at it, or they're better at it than you are. So you can use them that way to ask for help. And you want your team to feel like they can do this. So you need to show them what it looks like, right? If they need to ask for help, you need to also be asking for help. And I think also key is prioritizing work-life balance. If you don't have set work hours, and by set work hours, I mean, per day. Like they could flex on different days or flex on an as-needed basis, but they shouldn't really total more than 40 hours per week if possible. If you don't have those kind of work hours set, consider mapping out what they might look like on your calendar. And then when you're off work hours, make sure you're truly stepping away and enjoying life outside of work. To show your team that you're doing this, since we know they're watching, talk about some of the things you do outside of work in passing. It'll show them that you all need to have some balance. All right, and the last question, which is my favorite, how do I deal with procrastination and make sure tasks get done on time? As a reformed procrastinator, mostly reformed procrastinator myself, I relate with this question. I think breaking tasks into smaller, manageable chunks is really important. So completing one piece is going to spur you to want to complete another. For example, let's say we're writing a presentation that we're going to deliver. Getting an outline done for the presentation primes you for fleshing out the content. And once the content's done, you're going to want to practice it to see if it works well. So you kind of create this snowball effect of wanting to complete the project, which will help with the procrastination. And then set specific deadlines for each part of that task. So maybe you have a deadline for the outline, a deadline for the content, a deadline for when you're going to practice it. Most people work better with shorter time frames. Now, you may say, but I want to give myself a month to do this. Well, when you give yourself too much time to complete a task, you're more likely to wait till the last minute, especially if you're a procrastinator. Give yourself realistic deadlines for each chunk of the task and hold yourself accountable to them. Not too much time, just enough time. And then lastly, use a reward system to motivate yourself. This might mean you're taking a break for a walk outside when you finish the heavy lift part of a task, or putting the task in a time block before lunch so you can have a meal out with friends when you're finished, and that's the reward. Remember, celebrating even small successes will make you want to complete more tasks. And so there's just some ways that I think you can overcome procrastination.
Thanks for joining me for this mini-sode. If we're not already connected on LinkedIn, you can find me there, sharing practical tips and insights on all things leadership. And don't forget to grab the free resource on my website, latourleadershipacademy.com, and get more great tips directly in your inbox. Have a great rest of your day and see you back here soon.